Welcome to the Deep Dive. We have a special author spotlight for you today, diving into Laura Lewonder's book, The Practice of Purposeful Mornings.
Oh, very cool.
It actually comes out February 1st,
Mm,
2025, so
Okay.
mark your calendars for that. But we're going to unpack some of the key ideas from the book so you can kind of get a feel for it, see if it's something you might want to explore further.
Awesome.
So I think one of the things that's really fascinating about Laura's approach
Mm,
is that instead of giving you like a one-size-fits-all morning routine,
Right.
she really emphasizes creating one that fits your own life and goals.
It's fascinating how she does that. Yeah. Instead of just saying, here's the routine, do this, it's about figuring out what works for you and your own, schedule and your goal.
Well, and she takes it to the extreme, right? I mean, she actually starts her own morning routine at 2 in the morning.
2 in the morning.
I know.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
Very intense. Yeah. While 2 a.m. might not be for everyone, what's important is that principle behind it. The morning is the time you have the most control. Yeah. Before the day's demands take over.
Okay, so let's dive into the book itself. It's structured in 3 parts, each kind of building on the last. And part 1 is called The Foundation of Purposeful Mornings.
Okay.
I'm guessing this is where Laura lays out the why. Why should we even bother with a structured morning routine?
Exactly. In this section, she argues that how you spend your morning really sets the tone for your entire day. And she even brings in some interesting scientific evidence about how cognitive performance peaks in the first few hours after waking.
So it's not just like a feeling like, oh, I feel better when I have a good morning. She's like, no, science says this is when your brain is firing on all cylinders.
Exactly. And those peak cognitive hours are when your brain is best at things like problem solving and creative thinking.
So if we're wasting those hours like scrolling through social media,
Right.
we're missing out on all that,
Exactly.
that prime brain power.
It really makes you think about how you're using that valuable time. So many of us are on autopilot in the mornings. But Laura challenges us to be more intentional
Yeah.
with how we start our day.
Okay, so let's move on to part 2, the 60-day journey.
Oh, okay.
This is where the rubber meets the road, right? Laura guides you through 6 phases, each with daily inspiration, action steps, and reflection prompts.
That's great.
Did any of these phases particularly stand out to you?
They're all really cleverly designed to kind of build on each other. But
Yeah.
one that I found particularly interesting was phase 5, cultivating creativity and focus.
Okay.
It seems counterintuitive that you could boost both creativity and focus at the same time.
Right. Tell me more about that. What did she suggest people actually do during this phase?
She encourages things like brainstorming, working on passion projects, even incorporating play.
We play, like having fun.
Yes. Laura believes that playfulness can actually boost creativity and problem-solving skills. This could involve anything from doodling to listening to music to engaging in a quick game. It's about bringing a sense of joy and wonder to your morning routine.
So it's not just about being a robot and
Yeah.
getting things done.
Right, exactly.
It's about nurturing that creative spark. I love that.
It's a great example of how Laura's approach goes beyond simple productivity hacks. She's really interested in helping people tap into their full potential.
Okay. So we've got the 60-day journey, these 6 phases. Now, the last part of the book, part 3, is called the transformation.
Right.
What kind of transformation are we talking about here? Is this where she reveals the secret to, like, becoming a millionaire by 8 a.m.?
Not quite, although that would be impressive. Instead, Laura explores the ripple effects of purposeful mornings on different areas of your life. She talks about how those small changes in your morning routine can positively impact your mind, body, relationships, work, even your resilience.
So she's saying that creating a purposeful morning routine isn't just about getting more done.
Yeah.
It's about becoming a better version of yourself
Exactly.
in all aspects of your life.
And I think that's a really powerful message for the listener. It's not just about checking things off a to-do list. It's about creating a foundation for a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. But before we move on, anything else about these ripple effects that our listeners should keep in mind?
What's fascinating is that Laura doesn't just make these claims. She actually backs them up with examples and research.
Oh.
For instance, when she talks about the impact of purposeful mornings on resilience, she dives into the science of habit formation and how consistent morning routines can help us build that muscle of self-discipline.
So it's not just about feeling good in the moment. It's about building that inner strength.
Yeah,
to navigate whatever life throws your way.
That's exactly right. And that resilience can be so valuable, whether you're facing a challenging project at work, personal setback, or just the everyday stresses of modern life.
All right, that's a great overview of the book's structure. Now let's get into some of the specifics. Laura outlines a 60-day journey with 6 distinct phases. Let's unpack those in more detail.
We left off talking about the 60-day journey that Laura outlines in the practice of purposeful mornings.
Right.
It's broken down into 6 distinct phases, each building on the last.
It's almost like a video game, right? Like leveling up your morning routine.
Yeah, exactly.
So walk me through these phases. What's the first step that Laura recommends?
The first phase is all about building the foundation.
Okay.
And she starts with something we all know we should do, but maybe don't always prioritize.
What's that?
Hydration.
Oh, hydration.
Laura's a big believer in starting your day with full glass of water.
That's one of those things that seems so simple, but can make a surprising difference. I know I always feel better when I'm properly hydrated. But, like, how does she suggest making it a habit?
She gives a few tips, but one that stood out to me was keeping a glass or a bottle of water on your nightstand. That way it's the first thing you see when you wake up. No excuses.
That's brilliant. Such a simple hack, but I can see how it would make a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so hydration is the first building block. What comes next?
Next is a practice that's been getting a lot of attention lately, gratitude.
Okay.
In phase 2, nurturing gratitude and intention. Laura encourages readers to spend a few minutes each morning reflecting on what they're grateful for.
I've tried gratitude journaling in the past, I have to admit.
Yeah.
It sometimes felt a bit forced. Did Laura address that at all?
She did. She suggests making it more personal and tangible.
Okay.
Instead of just listing,
Yeah.
generic things you're grateful for, try focusing on a specific moment or interaction that brought you joy. It makes the practice more meaningful and less like a chore.
That's a great tip. I can see how that would make it feel more authentic. So we've got hydration, we've got gratitude as the foundation. What comes next in this 60-day journey?
Phase 3 is energizing the body and mind. And this is where movement comes in. Now, before you panic, she's not talking about like intense hour-long workouts.
You're right.
Even just 5 or 10 minutes of stretching. Yoga or a brisk walk can make a world of difference.
I'm all for that. I'm much more likely to stick with, like,
Yeah,
a short, manageable workout in the morning.
exactly.
It's about finding what works for you.
It's not about pushing yourself to the limit. It's about incorporating movement into your routine in a way that feels good and sustainable.
Okay. Now, this next phase is where things start to get really interesting to me. Phase 4 is called clarifying your priorities.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
This is where you start connecting your morning routine to your bigger goals.
Okay.
Laura guides you through identifying your top priorities for the day, aligning your actions with your values, and even creating what she calls a not-to-do list.
A not-to-do list. That's a new one for me. Tell me more.
It's basically a list of things
Yeah.
you're going to intentionally avoid doing that day. Maybe it's scrolling through social media first thing in the morning, or checking email every 5 minutes.
Right.
By identifying those time wasters, you can free up more time and energy for the things that truly matter.
That's brilliant. I'm definitely adding a not-to-do list to my routine. It's so easy to get sidetracked by distractions throughout the day.
This phase is all about being more intentional with your time and your energy. By clarifying your priorities, you can make sure you're focusing on the right things.
Okay. Now, for phase 5, this one sounds particularly intriguing. Cultivating creativity and focus.
Okay.
I have to admit, those two things don't always seem to go hand in hand for me.
That's what I thought too. But Laura makes a compelling case for how they can actually complement each other.
Oh, interesting.
This phase encourages you to tap into your creative potential through activities like brainstorming, working on passion projects, even incorporating play.
Wait, play. As in, like, having fun.
Yes. Laura believes that playfulness can boost creativity and problem-solving skills. This could involve anything from doodling to listening to music to engaging in a quick game. It's about bringing a sense of joy and wonder to your morning routine.
I love that. I love how she incorporates these, like, unexpected elements into what we traditionally think of as a productive morning routine.
Right.
Okay, now for the final phase, what does Laura call it?
Phase 6 is sustaining momentum.
Okay.
And it's exactly what it sounds like, focusing on making these changes last.
That's so important, right? It's easy to, like, get excited about a new routine, but the real challenge is sticking with it over time.
Right, exactly.
How does she suggest people do that?
This phase is all about building in flexibility,
Okay.
creating support systems, and celebrating your wins. She also emphasizes the importance of self-compassion,
Oh, that's huge.
recognizing that setbacks are inevitable, and it's okay to adjust your routine as needed.
I think that's such a key point. It's not about being perfect, it's about progress.
Huh.
And being kind to yourself along the way.
Yeah. Exactly. And Laura provides a lot of practical tips for staying motivated and dealing with those inevitable bumps in the road.
These 6 phases really seem to cover all the bases.
Right.
And it's amazing how she weaves together like practical advice with insights about mindset, creativity, and even playfulness.
That's what I love about her approach. It's holistic,
Sure.
it's realistic, and it's ultimately about empowering you to create a morning routine that truly works for you.
All right. We've covered the book's structure and the 6 phases of the 60-day journey. But what happens after you've implemented these changes? What are the ripple effects
Yeah.
of these purposeful mornings? We'll explore that more after.
That's a great question.
Yeah. So we're back, ready to dive into the final part of Laura's book.
Yeah.
This is the part where we see how those purposeful mornings actually transform your life.
This is where it gets really exciting. In part 3, the transformation, Laura explores the ripple effects of these morning practices on different areas of your life. She doesn't just say, they'll make you feel better. She dives into the how and the why.
So it's not just about, like, checking things off a list. It's
Yeah.
about how those changes actually impact you.
Exactly. For instance, one of the most immediate benefits Laura highlights is increased clarity and focus.
Okay.
When you start your day with intention, you're training your mind to be more present and less reactive.
That makes sense. If you're not starting your day in a frenzy, you're more likely to approach everything with a clear head.
And that clarity doesn't just disappear when you leave your house. It carries through to your work, your decision-making, even your relationships.
Okay, so that's the mental side of things. What about the impact on your body? We talked about how Laura emphasizes movement, but how does that actually translate into tangible benefits?
Well, apart from the obvious physical benefits, there's this incredible boost in energy that comes from moving your body first thing in the morning. And remember, it doesn't have to be an intense workout.
Right.
Even a short walk or some stretching can make a difference.
I've definitely noticed that, yeah.
Yeah.
When I manage to, like, squeeze in a little movement in the morning, I just feel more energized throughout the day.
It's amazing what a little bit of motion can do. And that energy boost isn't just physical, it's mental too. You feel more alert, more focused, more ready to tackle whatever the day brings.
Now, this is something I'm really curious about. How do purposeful mornings affect our relationships?
This is where Laura's approach gets really interesting. She talks about how when you prioritize self-care in the morning, you're essentially filling your own cup first.
I love that analogy. It's like if you're running on empty, you don't have much to give to others.
Exactly. But when you start your day feeling grounded and energized, you have more to offer in your relationships. You're more patient, more present, more capable of connecting with others.
It's like that ripple effect we were talking about earlier. It starts with you, but it extends outward to everyone you interact with.
And that positive energy is contagious. When you show up as your best self, it inspires others to do the same.
Okay, so let's talk about work. We've touched on productivity, but what's Laura's take on how purposeful mornings can lead to professional success?
It's not just about getting more done. It's about aligning your work with your values. Laura encourages you to connect your morning routine to your bigger goals. So you're not just working hard, you're working on things that are truly meaningful to you.
So it's about bringing that sense of purpose to your work.
Exactly. And that sense of purpose can be incredibly motivating. It helps you stay focused, overcome challenges, and ultimately achieve greater success.
We've talked about a lot of positive impacts,
Yeah.
but let's get real for a moment. Life isn't always easy, right?
Okay.
How do purposeful mornings equip us to deal with challenges and setbacks?
This is where the concept of resilience comes in.
Okay.
Laura argues that a consistent morning routine builds resilience and teaching you to show up for yourself, even when it's hard.
It's like building that muscle of self-discipline.
That's a great way to put it. And that muscle becomes incredibly valuable when you're facing tough times. It helps you stay grounded, make better decisions, and bounce back more quickly.
So it's not just about having a great morning. It's about building that inner strength to navigate whatever life throws your way.
Exactly. And I think that's a powerful message for anyone feeling overwhelmed or uncertain about the future. It's a reminder that we have more control than we think.
Laura Lowender's The Practice of Purposeful Mornings really does offer a compelling case for transforming your life,
Ah,
one morning at a time. It's not a one-size-fits-all formula. It's a guide to creating a morning routine that truly works for you.
and it's packed with actionable tips, inspiring stories, and even a bit of science to back it all up.
Don't forget, the book officially releases February 1st, 2025.
Mark your calendars, folks.
And in the meantime, we'd love for you to consider this. What's one small change you could make to your morning routine that might have a positive ripple effect on your entire day?
It could be something as simple as drinking a glass of water, stretching for a few minutes, or writing down 3 things you're grateful for.
The choice is yours. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.